who, I mean, I've seen players do like the amount of shit that players get away with currently, like in the past, in the present, I'm sure in the future as well, is insane. And I've seen plenty of players that have said like really bad things or have really gone after someone and bullied someone or just been an asshole and have never taken accountability, have never addressed it, and they've just got away with it. You know, we see that happen quite a lot.
We need to talk about Lunarkats because, oh my, what a loaded fucking issue this one is. TSM obviously announced their roster a few days back. Kath, Athena, Azosi, Emily, and Lunarkats is on this roster. Now, in what, 3 days or so, we get a pretty cryptic announcement from TSM that indicates that they've agreed to mutually part ways with Lunarkats and that they're looking for a sub. Now, let's start with this. They were, as far as we understand, permitted to find a sub under these conditions. I think we need to correct that because people are like, why did they get a sub? What is this? I believe that was in the rules that they were allowed to do this.
Yeah, definitely. I think it comes to the same thing as like, look, you look at First Strike. What happened to Immortals with the emergency stand-ins that they have to bring in Shanks and somebody else that came in for Shut Up at the same time, or vice versa. And then you also have the situation, of course, with what happened recently on Masters with Sentinels and, you know, with Tens coming into the team. So I think that there's some ways that it's not necessarily bending the rules, but like, are you really going to just disqualify a whole team and not allow them to play if they can't even get, like, if their fifth literally is not in the roster anymore? Yeah. So in the end, I think it comes down to, I don't know, like, look at the rules. I think at that point, sorry, I was gonna say, like, for First Strike, for example, it has to be a person that's never qualified during the whole open qualifiers, and same thing for Masters. I think it's with nobody that qualified during the VCTs. So I think this sub-in is totally fine.
Let's not forget Sentinels making their substitution on even shorter notice.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this, I think that's a fucking nothing burger. If anybody's having issues with that, surely not. Anyway, so we saw obviously we got you know, there was a tweet from, let's call it the Bible of esports, right? Obviously Jake Lucky, who has an opinion about fucking everything in esports, obviously tweeted out a little bit more context to this. This was actually on their YouTube channel, I think. So I've been told that the tweet longer posted by Saw Haley is not the reason for Lunarkats removal. Now, just a little bit of backstory. There was some obviously some shit talk between these two. I think at some point, you know, Lunarkats had, you know, made some comments in her Twitch chat a while back, and there was some speculation about her character. But you know, at this point we started to understand that, you know, her being banned. I mean, Haley also didn't know. She tweeted, "Did I get someone banned? Ha ha ha!" Like, okay, clearly no love lost between those two. It was actually not the reason for it, and I think that actually, do me a favor, Yinsi, before we jump into the site, you can very quickly give your sort of approximation of this, and then we can show her reaction. That might be the better way to do it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sure, of course. Well, from my understanding, it is one of those kind of like, I wouldn't even want to use the word historical, but because I don't know where the line is. Like, it's historical 5 years ago or historical 12 months plus, you know. But either way, supposedly she had made a Snapchat video in 2019 that had some offensive content in it. She didn't actually go into detail what it was, but I did watch her stream, and people were asking like, "Hey, did you say any like slurs? Did you?" I think someone specifically was like, "Did you say the N word?" And she said, "No, I didn't." She didn't really want to go into details about it, but essentially she got signed to TSM, and someone who had a copy of this video kind of made it to TSM's attention, being like, yo, you just signed someone that did this back in 2019. It's not really acceptable. Again, I'm not quite sure the actual conversation. And obviously, like you said, Uwe, it kind of led to her then being dropped a couple days later. I think, yeah, let's play her reaction because I might have a slight different opinion to what people are expecting.
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Look.
Well, I apologize after you get removed because I didn't think the video was still out there at all. Like, it was in 2019. I had deleted it then. I didn't think anyone had it. I had apologized then as well. and I honestly didn't think it would come back, but obviously someone still has it, and I've obviously hurt their feelings with what I had said, and they had sent it, and then I had a meeting with them, and we both agreed, like, you know, like, in order to protect them and me from, like, the video actually, like, getting out and this person starting, like, a whole cancel culture on me, we agreed to just kind of terminate. But, like, feel so sorry for my teammates because we had worked so hard for the past 2 weeks, and then they had to play part of the tournament without me. I hope you're okay, fans, badly. Honestly, guys, it's not TSM's fault at all. They approached me with the video, and it was a mutual decision. Like, they really wanted to kind of protect me too from, like, somebody using this video against me, but honestly, like, no matter, like, what I do, this person's going to just hold this video over my head, and I feel like I need to address it because it is something that I did and said, and I don't want to hide behind it. I don't want to ignore it and act like nothing ever happened. But it's best that it got out early so that, like, my teammates can find a new team and stuff.
Okay, so that is obviously taken from Lunarkats. It's a short stream that she makes to sort of contextualize and explain what happened. And you know, one thing that wasn't quite caught there was that she sort of mentioned that she did these, you know, Snapchat rants, for a bit. It was performative to a degree. You know, I've been in a position when people have sort of egged me on to be more and more out there, and thankfully I've not crossed any lines. But I can see that sometimes it can be a very fine line between, you know, a rant that's for comedy purposes and something that can actually be very, very offensive. It sounds like there is someone that is as she put it, holding it over her head, you know, and who knows how long that's going to be an issue for. Uh, it's tough. It's, you know, I think anyone with empathy feels pretty unsettled watching that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks to see it. It sucked to watch it too. From Lunarkats' point of view, it's definitely sad. I think like we've all made mistakes at some part. I mean, nobody's perfect at that point. Even myself, I'd be ashamed to admit that. I'd be ashamed to admit as well that in my ranked games, whatever, in the past, I've never been like as polished as I am today, and I've learned from my mistakes for that. And you try to become a better person. And even then, when I'm looking at the past since Valorant came out, or maybe even few years before, when I heard about Lunarkats, I've never heard about anything that really came out until like this now, right? Until she finally joins an organization like a high-end top organization. This happened, so it kind of sucks that it still bears above her head that way. And I hope that everything could eventually clear up at some point.
I do think there's 2 points here because first of all, no one except for maybe her and the people that remembered her back in 2019 has actually seen the Snapchat video, and obviously
Yes.
people are TSM. So none of us actually know what she said. Also, a transcription of a video, even if that does exist, is very different to the actual video because like tone matters, context
Yeah.
matters, the way that she expressed herself matters. So of course, I'm with you guys. I feel like it's something that it either needs to come out and for people to actually judge it and be like, oh, well, that's really fucking harsh that she got dropped for something that's either clearly like a comedic thing or whatever. But at the same time, I do feel like it also depends on the content of the video because as someone who, I mean, I've seen players do like the amount of shit the players get away with currently, like in the past, in the present, I'm sure in the future as well, is insane. And I've seen plenty of players that have said like really bad things or have really gone after someone and bullied someone or just been an asshole and have never taken accountability, have never addressed it, and they've just got away with it. You know, we see that happen quite a lot. And as someone who's been kind of on the receiving end of it, I do feel like hypothetically, if in that Snapchat video she was like directing abuse against like an individual, and if that individual is not okay with it still, and that individual does not accept her apology or for whatever reason, I do feel like that's up to that individual to feel whatever way they feel. Like they're entitled to not forgive someone, right? If like let's say the video is, I don't know what it is, I don't want to make anything up.
Sure.
But having said that, we in esports forgive people for everything. Like, we have such short-term memory when it comes to people fucking up. And I've seen people like have second chances. I've seen people get signed. I've seen people literally like thrive in their careers for literally being assholes and have never addressed any of their mistakes. So I feel like she's addressing this, right? She's apologizing, she's taking accountability, she's admitting to it, she's not trying to hide from it. And I do feel like it's a little bit harsh for people to keep holding it against her, because if we can forgive other people for literally being scum of the earth and not apologizing and not addressing things and like just living their life, I do feel like we also need to treat her the same way as well. So it would be really sad to see people kind of like hound her for it. But again, we don't know the context, we don't know the content, so we can only sort of judge from what the information we have.
Yeah, and I think Doug makes a decent point in the chat as well. I think she addressed it at the time as well. Now, whether that addressment of it or the addressing of it was considered sufficient then or not, but I think there has to be a degree to which we have to appreciate the irony in which there were droves of absolute fuckboys that were willing to forgive Sinatra for what he was accused of on the basis of him making quote unquote good content.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I've seen some of these same shitty weeby fucking anime profile pictures just condemn this behavior in such a weird way. I think Kat references Lunarkats, she references cancel culture in that video. Obviously, that's a pretty loaded term, because I think a lot of people that do dumb shit and then want to get away with it use that term pretty flippantly. I would argue that there is also a degree to which that has some merit, and the disdain for that concept is justified. But I think the content of the video will never be known to us. What I hope is that there will be a world where, her sort of addressing this now, and she addressed it then. So it's not like, the question in chat that was asked to her was, why are you only apologizing now? Because you got kicked. That's not why. It's not like, I'm sorry because I was caught. She apologized back then, as far as we understand, and addressed it at the time and deleted it, and she recognized what she'd done. Now, and she mentions it again. So there is a lot of nuance here, frankly, that much of the internet isn't equipped to really deal with adequately. I would just say that it's a disappointing situation, and I really hope that in time, I assume it's an individual. This individual, will become satisfied by her contrition and her desire to change for the better.
Yeah,
I will say though that from what I have seen, and it does seem like it's not the first time that her character has been called into question, based on some of her interactions, which you can find if you go looking. So there's a lot to deal with there as well. I think it's unfortunate. TSM obviously were able to find a substitute and actually qualify through.
Yeah,
So
with Ariana Anarchist.
That's correct. So we'll be seeing more of that roster going forward. So fear not, TSM fans. Also, why are they called TSM female? Can we
Yeah.
make a better name?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, at least some teams give them a color, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing for Dignitas too, though, right? So I don't know,
Yeah.
but I like
want
the
something
.fe though.
badass.
The .fe is cool for I don't know.
Why can't we? That's where we should borrow from sport. Why can't they be called like, I don't know, some kind of badass animal, like TSM anacondas or something?
That would be sick.
Like, I couldn't think of another animal that was badass.
Yeah, no, that would be sick. Actually, and just to take a quick step back too, because again, I've watched the whole thing for the stream that she's made for Lunarkats, and I do express empathy for her too, because when she said that she mutually parted ways with TSM too, it was like, she's like, I wanted to actually leave because I also wanted to look out for my teammates, because I don't want like me winning or the team winning together is going to be overcasted or overshadowed by this video or anything that wants to come out later that would then eventually bring pitchforks to TSM, pitchfork to her teammates, along with her, and she doesn't want to drag everybody into the mud with it. If this person really wants to or really has a grudge against her, so I do find like it's a very selfless act, and I do commend that, and it's just unfortunate that everything's playing out this way. But again, as Yinsu mentioned, we have no context of everything in the past, what's really in the video, but at least from watching this, I could definitely tell that it's sincere what she's talking about in her video here.